Good evening. Many thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Dave Lees and I work for the Angling Trust as the North West Regional Enforcement Manager. Over the next 15 minutes or so, I'll give you an overview of what my colleagues and I actually do, how we came about, our structure, and most importantly, how we can assist you. All of the following information is on our website at anglingtrust.net. As you can see, I've been a keen angler for the past 50 years, evidenced by the record perch coming out of the Rochdale Canal back in 1971. If we move on to the National Angling Strategic Services contract, bit of a mouthful I know, that was awarded to the Angling Trust by the Environment Agency in November 2015 for 4 years. This is funded by you and I via our rod licence. Rod licence income is what we call a hypothecated tax. That means that it's got to go back into angling. It can't be spent on other things by the Treasury. Crucially, this was renewed in April 2020 for a further 4 years. So clearly, we've been doing something right. The Fisheries Enforcement Support Service, FES for short, sits under the NAS contract. And this is the team really. If we start at the middle with Nino Brancato, our manager, fairly new to the post but doing a fantastic job. And then if we start top left, myself, Dave Lees, who covers the north west of England. Bottom left, Nevin Hunter, covers the southwest of England. Kevin Pearson covers the Midlands. Paul Thomas covers the East Midlands. Dave Wilkins covers the southeast. And Kevin Woodcock covers the northeast. Be unfair not to mention the great support we get from Karen Hinson, our volunteers manager, Phil Dunn, our comms manager, and Gary Thomas, our intel manager. A bit more on him later. A large proportion of our work concerns the Voluntary Bailiff Service, or VBS as it's commonly known. So we'll start by covering the VBS. So how did it come about? Well, if we go back to 2012, it was recognised anglers' growing frustration with the enforcement authorities, the EA and the police. Could a voluntary bailiff service empower anglers to assist the EA and police in fisheries enforcement work? Some key voices started to push this. When you consider that currently we've got approximately 80 fully warranted Environment Agency fisheries enforcement officers, these are the officers that you occasionally see out on the waters with stab vests, quick cuffs, batons. They have warranted powers of arrest and search, just like the police. They're highly knowledgeable and they're there to assist us. I've got to know a lot of these people during my time and they are top people. So considering that there's 80 of them approximately, and there are 65,000 kilometres of river, 30,000 still water fisheries in England, if we doubled the Environment Agency resource, it'd still give each individual officer over 214 still waters and 464 kilometres of river to patrol. Very difficult task. The VBS is clearly a way to assist with this, and we need to take an intelligence-led approach. So if we fast forward to 2016, the VBS went live in the spring of 2016 across all 6 regions of England. I think you'll agree that's not bad progress in the 6 months since the NAS contract was awarded. All of this was new to us, but we managed to recruit and train these crucial volunteers. We now have just under 500 volunteers in England, and our ambition is to reach 700 within the next 2 years. The training was all provided for free. All it costs volunteers is their time. We even pay for travel and food and drink is provided. Apart from being very good training events, I think they're great social events also, with new friendships and communication links formed and established. They tended previously to be held in conference centres, police training schools, etc., etc. They were really enjoyable day, very enjoyable day, meeting lots of like-minded people who all care about angling. I really miss those days. As we know, things changed back in March last year, and we all had to quickly adapt. COVID has made us adapt our VBS training methods, and we now use predominantly Microsoft Teams, although tonight we're on Zoom. The training is a condensed format, but it's still very effective, and all from the comfort of your own home. We also use it for most of our meetings with the police and the EA. The VBS training includes police and EA inputs on the law relating to angling. Most of it is covered by the Theft Act, but SAFA as well. The best way to record evidence, details on how we actually operate, our secure website, health and safety, and much, much more. This online training is supported by group and joint VBS patrols, all of which are COVID compliant, where new VBS members get to meet EA and police staff and other VBS members. Patrols are very much part of the VBS training and ongoing development. VBS, so how does it work? Well, very simply, the VBS works by empowering anglers, acting as eyes and ears gathering information, which when processed forms intelligence, the lifeblood for effective enforcement. We then reassure by educating, by working together with partners and obtaining good enforcement outcomes, and very importantly by publishing such activity to get the message out there. Because if we get the message out there strong, that creates a fear of detection. It increases that fear of detection, which equals reduced offending rates. On the 1st of April, we introduced our new secure VBS reporting website. It'd been running for the 5 years prior to, but this is the latest version, and it is fantastic. It is a really good tool for us now. All our patrols are logged on here, and all our recorded incidents to the police and the EA are also logged on here. It's very accurate. It's got what 3 words built into it, and it's crucial to how we operate. Our volunteers have quickly adapted to its use. In the Northwest, over 70% people have used the site for our existing VBS members, and I hope to increase that nearer to 100 in the not too distant future. These are examples of some of the patrols that we do. If we start at the top left, that's a club bailiff. He's wearing his VBS branded clothing, which all volunteers are issued with after a 3-month kind of probationary period to make sure that they're happy with us and we're happy with them. It's not compulsory to wear it. You choose as and when you want to wear it. So, club bailiffs out there doing their work, they're key to a lot of the information we get. Can also be whilst you're out there fishing. This gent's doing a bit of drop shotting on the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. Why not? It's a patrol. Your eyes and ears whilst you're out there. There's then a group patrol on a Cheshire Canal with 3 of our volunteer bailiffs, just trying to firm up some intelligence that had come through reset lines. We do lots of joint, high-profile joint patrols with the police and the Environment Agency. The bottom left one is on the River Dee with the local council river patrol boats, the police and the Environment Agency and our key VBS volunteers. Very successful patrols, those. The middle one is a boat patrol with the Environment Agency on Lake Windermere. Absolutely fantastic day. Top right, again with the Environment Agency on a Manchester Canal, and the bottom left with the Environment Agency also. These are great patrols. We can only ever do the joint high profile patrols with the enforcement agencies if we can persuade them that there's a real need to have a look at that area. And we can only do that by being intelligence led. The intelligence we get comes from our VBS members and other key contacts, people like yourself from angling clubs and fisheries. The main thing to remember about these patrols, whenever these patrols are run, at the end of it, we always have a debrief. And what always strikes me about that during that debrief is that everybody is better informed, better educated on the problems. They're always enthused about dealing with those problems. And because of that, when they go away, if they come across those problems, they're far more likely to deal with them in an effective way in the future. It keeps the focus on those problems. Social media, big part of the angling world these days. We all know that. Each region, each of our 6 regions has an Angling Trust Facebook page, and then we have the main Angling Trust Facebook page. Great sources of information. We publish our patrols on there. We sometimes get them published on local in the local press, and these are key for us really. Getting that message out there. As I mentioned before, if we can increase the fear of detection, we can reduce offending rates. Some key statistics for you. Well, VBS started back in April 2016. So from the 1st of April 2016 to the 25th of January 2021, total number of VBS patrols 47,783. Active VBS bailiffs during that period 578. Joint patrols with the EA 400. Joint patrols with the police, sometimes these were combined with the EA at the same time, 302. Reports reported to the EA, police and other 2,412. Intelligence logs shared with the EA and the police 834. I think you'll agree this is really massive contribution towards helping to support and protect the sport that we all love. Talking about intelligence, we put a lot of intelligence through to the police and the EA and other agencies, and we realised back in 2017 that we needed a manager for this. So we hired Gary Thomas. He's a retired West Mercia Police Detective Inspector and he's highly experienced intelligence practitioner. Gary now leads for us on setting up information sharing agreements with partners, a secure criminal justice system email, which the police, CPS, etc. use, and collating and sharing incoming intelligence from the Voluntary Bailiff Service. What he does is crucial. The police would never accept intelligence from us unless it was on what we call the NIM model, the National Intelligence Model. Crucially, this model protects the source. It always protects the source, so any intelligence that comes through to us is fully sanitized before it's shared with any other partner agencies. So the VBS equals positive change. Well, why do I claim that? Well, my experience in the last 5+ years has shown me that the angling community feel more empowered than they were 5 years ago. There's an increased confidence. There's also massively increased angling related intelligence to both the police and the EA, which we've just evidenced. There's a wider awareness of issues raised. There's a multi-agency approach, which again I've just evidenced to you. There's a clear strategy, prevention, intelligence and enforcement. There's education and integration, which we'll cover shortly with the Building Bridges team. And I think there's a greater fear of detection. I've seen that particularly on the River Dee, where we used to get lots of offenders. We hardly get any now because of the joined up approach with the police, the EA and ourselves. So how do I become a part of the VBS? Well, membership of the VBS is via an application process. VBS recruitment is now on a rolling basis based on the needs of each of our 6 English regions. Details of the 6 regions are on the Angling Trust website, anglingtrust.net, as are the details of your 6 regional enforcement managers. So if you wish to register an interest and apply to become a member, please contact the Angling Trust's National Volunteers Manager, Karen Hinson, indicating where in England you are based. Karen Hinson at anglingtrust.net. Again, all those details are on the website. So, besides VBS, what else does the FEST team actually do? well, I'll just expand into other areas that we're involved in. A large part of what we do is coordinating a multi-agency approach to fisheries-related crime. We've already covered a bit of this through the VBS earlier, but we do this every single day, and I would argue that this is one of our biggest successes, establishing a more joined-up approach to dealing with all angling-related crime. If we start at the top left photograph there, that's of Cumbria Police HQ up in Penrith a couple of years ago. They signed up to Operation Leviathan. You can see myself there in the photograph with a couple of my key VBS volunteers, the police and the EA. Leviathan and its sister operation, Operation Traverse, are operations under which all fisheries related crime sits. Leviathan covers the west side of England and Traverse runs up the east side of England. Crucially, these all but 3 police areas are now signed up to the operations. It's an operation under which all fisheries related crime sits. So below that we've got a typical joint patrol with VBS members, the police and the EA. We do them regularly. And then if we move across to the right, we also raise awareness with the police, the Crown Prosecution Service and the Magistrates Association. So we start with the Magistrates Association there. That's the cover of their monthly magazine, and a couple of years ago Dilip Sarkar, who used to work for us, presented to the Magistrates Association, and they ran a 2-page feature on it in their monthly magazine. Magistrates are like everybody else. If they don't understand a problem, they're far less likely to address it accurately and effectively. And we definitely saw an increase in sentencing and more accurate sentencing after this. So it's just an example of how we can educate and raise awareness in certain areas. The CPS have rural and wildlife crime trained solicitors. We speak to them on a regular basis, and they've had similar training. Rural and wildlife crime teams, most forces run these now, particularly the more rural forces. That's a picture of Sergeant Rob Simpson there from Cheshire Police Rural and Wildlife Crime Team with a couple of our signs. We've done lots of work with Rob and his team on the Dee and canal networks in Cheshire. Very effective, definitely reduced poaching issues there. A great example of recent police training that we're involved with was with Lancs Police for their newly formed Rural and Wildlife Crime Team. We, along with the EA, we planned a training day for them. We secured a local fishery, fir tree fishery, up in Apley Bridge near Wigan. All the training was fully COVID compliant, and there was 30 officers there split into small groups, and they worked their way around 8 workstations covering angling crime issues from common rod and line poaching through to gill netting and other prohibited methods. We even provided a short taster session with some of our level 2 coaches to give them a better appreciation of the sport, because what you've got to realise, folks, is that not all police officers understand the angling world. They all loved it. Some of them went back after the event to have another taster session. The feedback we've had from that has been excellent. And then at the bottom right is another joint patrol with the police and the EA. I think that's one of our biggest achievements, pulling resources, key resources together to better address the issues. Upskilling the angling community through fisheries enforcement workshops and the provision of free expert advice to angling clubs and fisheries. Every year we run a fisheries enforcement workshop. Traditionally they were held at places like Reesheath Agricultural College down in Cheshire. They were well attended, but again, because of COVID, we've had to adapt. This year we're looking at doing it online, and watch this space. There'll be details on that shortly. Great events. Police, Environment Agency, Angling Trust, Institute of Fisheries Management, CFAS all attend and all give presentations at these events. So they're very informative, a great way of learning about fishing. We also, as individuals, each REM, we travel around the country to different clubs. We're quite happy to go to an AGM and present, or just give a short chat. Picture on the bottom left is Whale Pike Syndicate up on the tops above Bolton. They were getting quite severe poaching issues for the pike and perch that are in there. I got to know them. We put plans in place. So we put simple plans in place. For instance, WhatsApp group for all members to quickly communicate poaching issues. Key information, key contact numbers for dog walkers, because it's a very popular dog walking spot. Organised regular patrols, including nighttime patrols. Introduce them to the local EA officers, to the local police, rural and wildlife crime officers. And crucially, got a couple of Eastern European anglers on the membership books. All of this combined has really addressed the problem that they had. They still get the odd issue now, but it's nothing like as bad as it used to be. I'm quite happy to come out to any club in the Northwest and support them. We also provide signage, free signage. You can download it off our website, anglingtrust.net. The PDFs are all on there via the Building Bridges site. Do multilingual signage. We do closed season river signage. We do Operation Leviathan, Operation Traverse signage. If a club's not well signed and doesn't look well looked after, it's more likely to get poached. So I'm quite happy to attend any waters in the Northwest, and I know my colleagues are throughout the country, to give crime prevention advice. We also provide translation services through our Building Bridges team for club rules, etc. And last but not least, the Building Bridges team. We've touched on them. A great team, fantastic project. It deals with the issues caused by migrant anglers. That will range from genuine language barriers and misunderstandings through to just pure criminality. They do this by education and integration. Janis Kanzik is the manager, fantastic person. They get into social media groups, they run migrant angler lure matches, offer translation services for club rules, for signage. They really do make a difference. Janis, the project manager, actually presented a forum in this format back in early December. And this can be viewed either via our website, or I think it's also available on YouTube if you search for Building Bridges Project. Finally, I'd just like to thank you very much for your precious time this evening and for listening to me. If there's any questions, we'll now try and address them. Thank you.